What is up, guys? I'm Francis the instructor, and today's tutorial video is going to talk about the dreaded motorways. So in all of the years that I've been doing lessons, whenever I mention motorways, people go, oh, scary. It sounds scary. It sounds like, oh my God, driving at 70 miles an hour is going to be mental. Motorway horror stories as well. You know that it's really fast. You know that there can be the potential for accidents on the motorway. But if we're driving safely and within the rules, then motorways are one of statistically the safest places to drive. So let's learn how to use them properly so that if you are not doing this with your driving instructor or friends and family, if this is the first time you're using motorways and you're on your own, you know what to do and you can keep yourself safe. So what's first? First of all, we're going to learn about how to join motorways, and this leads on nicely to the lesson that we did on dual carriageways. If you haven't seen that, click there and watch that one. Slip roads can be a little bit daunting. They might be a little bit tricky at first, so either practice this on a slower slip road like the A3, A2, they all have slip roads and they're at a slower speed than a motorway, or go and take a lesson with a driving instructor if you're not confident. So 3 things that we have to do on a slip road: speed up, indicate and find a gap. If you're doing 20 miles an hour to get onto a motorway, the traffic on the motorway is going to have a massive speed difference to you. So you need to make sure that you're at a high enough speed so that you can join the traffic without impacting any cars around you. Number 2, you need to indicate to join a motorway. Once you're on the slip road, start indicating nice and far back so that everybody on the motorway can see you. If there's not enough room for you to join, the car on your right might slow down, speed up, or change lanes into the next lane to help you join. Also, if you're on the motorway and you see a car coming down a slip road and they're joining at the same time as you, you might have to slow down, speed up, or move across if it's clear to help them join. Number 3, find a gap. If you're coming down a slip road, you need to have a look in your right mirror to see what's in lane 1. Now, what's going to be in your right mirror is a mad jumble mishmash of cars, but make sure that you just focus on lane 1 so that you can see what's coming down that lane and don't get distracted or confused by everything else in the other lanes. What you're also going to do is just take a quick check over your shoulder. Because of the angle of most slip roads joining a motorway, what's on your right is going to be in your blind spot. So quick check, not all the way around because that's going to encourage you to steer and we don't want to steer out of control. Just a quick check, see what's over your shoulder before you join. So that's all you've got to do. Speed up, indicate and find a gap, join. Once you're on the motorway, it's very small changes in direction. The smallest change of the steering wheel, it's going to have a big impact on your change of direction. So we don't do any jerky or wide turns on the steering wheel. Any small change in direction of the steering wheel is going to result in quite a large change in direction of your car. And hey, the rest we can learn on the drive. So let's go. Let's do this. Okay, so this looks like the M25 and straight away there is a speed restriction. Do you see that 60 sign we passed by? That's not advisory, that is mandatory. So we are going to observe that 60 mile an hour speed limit, and while we're on the slip road, let's talk about that. Speed up, done. Indicate, next, and find a gap. I've spotted my gap just behind that red Citroen C1. Quick shoulder check to make sure that blind spot's clear, and joining. Now, if this is your first time doing motorways, you're perfectly fine to sit in the left lane behind all of the slow moving trucks, perfectly okay to sit in the second lane behind the slightly faster moving cars until you get your confidence up. You don't have to rush out to the outside lane and do 70 miles an hour with all of the fast moving aggressive traffic. Sit on the left, stay there for a while and get your confidence up until you remember and you realize that actually this isn't that hard. The next thing about motorways, let's talk about it now, is following distance. People are really bad at following distance. It's so important. Your following distance should be 2 seconds to the car in front. What does that mean? When the car in front passes something stationary, it should take you more than 2 seconds to get to it. And that's 2 seconds in the dry, 4 seconds in rain, and 10 seconds in snow and ice. So when the car in front passes the gantry, 1, 2, we're about 2.5 seconds away from the red car in front. Perfect. So the speed on the motorway currently is traveling at 42 miles an hour. It might be really tempting to try and bump up to the car in front because we're late and we need to get where we're going quickly. But safety is the most important thing. You're gonna stay with that 2 second gap no matter what's going on. If there's a car behind tailgating you, try and push you up further and faster, you're still gonna stay at that 2-second gap. There's no compromises on that at all. Okay, up ahead I can see another sign on the gantry. The gantry is the signage at the top of the motorway that you drive underneath. There's a sign at the top of that, the black and white sign. If you've done your theory test, you will know what that sign means. It means national speed limit. National speed limit on a dual carriageway, which this is, for us, in a car, 70 miles an hour. I'm getting my confidence up now, and I'm gonna start thinking about moving into some overtaking lanes. To overtake and move into another lane, firstly, mirror check, then signal. Check that it's actually clear in my blind spot and move across. Notice that I didn't do a full blind spot check. I just checked over my shoulder quickly to make sure that the area that I can't see in the mirror is clear in case someone's moving from lane 3 into lane 2 while I'm moving from lane 1 into lane 2. Really important, that one. Now, I've moved in behind a Nissan and I'm going to increase my following distance so that I get that 2 seconds back again. Perfect. And remember, 2, 4, 10. That's going to help you if you're on your theory test. So I'm going to think about moving into the next lane on the right because this Nissan in front of me is still only doing about 65 miles an hour. So mirror, I can see a car there and there's not more than 2 seconds between me and the car behind. So I'm not going to move at this point. I'm going to keep on scanning the mirror and checking what's on my right. And when you're moving into lanes, it's really important to separate out the 3 stages. Check your mirror, acknowledge what's in the mirror, signal, and then let other drivers acknowledge your signal or have time to react to your signal and then move. Don't do mirror, signal, move at the same time. It's unpredictable, and like we spoke about in other videos, unpredictability is where problems happen. So, checking my mirror, put on a signal, pause, and then moving across. So if I want to move back to the left, exactly the same procedure. Check my mirrors, acknowledge what's there, take time to process that information, put a signal on, let the cars behind and in front and around you take time to process that information as well before you take a very gentle steer to the left to move into the lane that you're moving into. Now let's talk a little bit about signage on the motorway. We are having a look at the signs that are on this gantry. Leatherhead, Dorking. Remember where you need to get to. Take a note of it so that if you see it on the gantry, you can see whether that's your exit or not. Also, take a note of your exit number so that you know where you're going. The exit numbers are in a black box on the gantry. Underneath the exit number, it will show you how far there is until your exit. So that one said 1 mile. There's 1 mile until we get to the Leatherhead and Dorking turnoff. Now there's half a mile. Half a mile at 60 miles an hour is about 30 seconds. So if we were taking the exit, we'd need to start thinking about moving back to the left. Another important point, if I'm not overtaking anyone, I should be in the left lane or as far left as possible. So am I overtaking anyone right now? I'm probably going to approach and overtake that Peugeot very soon. So I'm going to stay in this lane. So I'm happy with my lane choice and I'm happy with my following distance. Next, let's talk about lane positioning. How do you know when you're in the middle of your lane? Well, because I've done this quite a lot and I've been driving for a long time, I can see where I'm sitting on the motorway is absolutely fine. But what can help you guys, if you haven't got the experience, is checking your mirrors. You will see the white line on the left of you in your left mirror. You'll see the white line on the right of you in the right mirror. You need to keep that white line the same distance away from your car. If it's the same distance away from your car on the left and right, you're in the middle of your lane. The next trick that you can do is get that positioning, make it perfect, and then see where you're sitting on the road. So for me, it's just right of center. The middle of my car's here, that's in the middle of the road. I am just to the right of it. I'm not sitting next to the white line on the right, and I'm not sitting next to the white line on the left. I'm just slightly to the right of center, and that's perfect for me. Now, here's a common problem. If you notice that you're weaving to the left and right, getting closer to each line, you're looking too close to in front of your bonnet. You need to extend your vision and start looking a lot further ahead, and that will help you to stop bouncing between the lines, because what's happening is you're concentrating on being close to that line and then you're concentrating on being close to that line, and both of them are taking you to different lanes, and it's not helpful at all. So I'm looking as far down as the Volvo that's ahead of us, and I'm aiming for a position near that Volvo, and it's helping me to stay nice and central. Next, let's talk about anticipation and planning. It's not just useful in busy city driving or town driving to anticipate pedestrians, cyclists, etc. It's also really important on motorways so that you can see whether you're approaching and gaining on the car in front or leaving the car in front. If you're gaining on them slowly, eventually you'll need to do something about it, like slow down or change lanes. Also, what's happening to the lane left of you or the lane right of you? Is that car encroaching on your space? Is anyone trying to change lanes into your lane? Again, what are you going to do about that? You might have to move position, slow down, or even take evasive action if there's someone trying to cut in front of you really closely. So I'm happy with my lane positioning. I'm right in the middle. I'm happy with my lane choice. I'm in the correct lane because I'm overtaking at the moment, and I'm happy with my following distance. Next, just settle back and enjoy the ride. Motorways can be fun, especially once you get used to it and you get confident. Make sure that you're not following the car in front too closely. Turn the music off if this is the first time you do it so that you can concentrate. Don't have passengers in the back the first time you do a motorway. Maybe just do it on your own for the first time so that you can fully concentrate on everything that's going on in front of you. Things happen a lot more quickly at 70 miles an hour. So if you're switched off for 2 seconds, imagine how far you can travel in 2 seconds at 70 miles an hour. You can cover quite a lot of distance. So make sure that you're concentrating, fully rested and switched on. Rest is another important thing that we need to talk about on motorways. When you're tired, your concentration lapses. There's this statistic out there about how much your concentration deteriorates in terms of pints of beer when you're tired. All motorways have service stations at regular intervals. If you feel yourself getting tired, or your eyes are drooping, or your concentration is not what it was when you started the journey, then you need to pull over, have a coffee, have a Red Bull, or just even rest, walk around a little bit. The monotony of driving on a motorway can be tiring. Listen to the noise, it's really calming. If you're the kind of person that needs white noise to get to sleep, this kind of noise right here is perfect for you. It's gonna put you to sleep, it's gonna be relaxing. After a while, when you're not concentrating and scared out of your mind because you're on a motorway for the first time, then this is gonna be nice and relaxing. Driving on a motorway is not difficult. You're literally just following the white lines down the road, following the car in front, planning well ahead, looking out for what's ahead of you. So take breaks, walk around every now and then, plan to stop. Don't leave 4 hours to do a 4-hour motorway journey. Leave 5 hours so you can stop a few times. Next, let's talk about breakdowns. See the blue boards on the left? M25B 54.3. Those are really important. They are marker boards for the motorway. If you break down M25B 54.1, you need to know where your last marker board is, or you need to find the last marker board so that you can tell the emergency services or your breakdown company exactly where you are on the M25. The letter denotes what side of the motorway you're on. M25 is obviously we're on the M25, and 54.1 or 54.3 is the point on the motorway that you are at. So the emergency services 53.4, the emergency services or your breakdown company, AA, RAC, green flag, will be able to find you and help you. Next, if you're broken down, you need to find a breakdown phone. On a smart motorway like this, the M25, there are less breakdown phones, SOS phones, but there's cameras all the way up and down the motorway. So if you're broken down, you can expect help. Don't just rely on the cameras though, find a breakdown phone or get your mobile phone out, call for assistance. You do not want to spend more time on the motorway broken down on a hard shoulder than you have to. Hard shoulders are a dangerous place to be. If you have to, hard shoulders are only for emergencies. The only time that you can use a hard shoulder is if your car cannot move you off the motorway onto a service station or a slip road or off the motorway completely. So your tire's blown, or your engine's failed, or your car is just clapped out, the wheels are falling off, the roof's blown off, and you cannot make it anywhere further on the motorway. It's not for if your child's thrown up in the back, it's just for emergencies. If you have to stop on the hard shoulder, stop as close to the barrier or the grass verge as possible. Get out and cross the barrier. Everyone's seen those police shows where someone's parked on the hard shoulder and then a lorry who's not concentrating whizzes down the hard shoulder and crashes into them. It's not supposed to be scary, it's supposed to be real life. It's supposed to help you in case that happens. It's super unlikely, but just in case, we need to know these things and we need to be able to deal with them if they happen. So we need to be up on that grass verge, not anywhere near your car while you're broken down. Also, if you're broken down, if you've got anything like a red triangle in your car or any other breakdown marker, you should be leaving that on, plus your hazard warning lights. Now, while we're on the subject of hazard warning lights, what are the hazard warning lights for? they're not to excuse bad parking. On a motorway, you will use your hazard warning lights to show people that you are braking dramatically. So if you see a smash in front of you, or you see a line of traffic, slow moving vehicles, and you're about to brake sharply, most modern cars do this automatically. They'll turn the hazard warning lights on for you. But if you don't have one of those cars that do that, just hit the hazard warning lights. Your hazard warning lights will flash, tell the car behind that there's a problem in front and that they need to brake sharply as well. Okay, so there's a gantry up ahead, and I can see M23 north to Croydon. There's where we need to go. It's junction 7 and it's in half a mile. So at this point, I've got 30 seconds at 60 miles an hour. So I'm going to start thinking about moving across. Let's do that now. Mirror, signal, and I'm moving into the left lane. I need to move one more lane to the left because that's my slip road. Remember, slip roads are very, very clearly marked with the short, stubby white lines and green studs. If you've taken your theory test, you know green studs are for slip roads, red studs are on the left, white studs to separate lanes, and amber studs for the central reservation. So we're going to switch motorways now from the M25 to the M23. This doesn't need to be hard. You're essentially just taking 2 slip roads. So let's do that now. We are on the slip road for the M23 north. Super clearly marked signs. If we're crossing another slip road, we're going to signal. Make sure you check your mirror. Motorbikes, other cars could be doing crazy stuff, and cross safely. Steering really smoothly around the bend. Remember, when you're traveling at high speeds, no jerky movements on the steering wheel and no sharp steering. The faster you're going, the slower you need to go, especially in the wet. In the wet, you have less grip, so you need to take extra care. Now, we are joining the M23 again. Remember what the red studs mean. Can we cross that section there? So let's see where we can cross. I'm going to start indicating now. I've checked over my shoulder. There's the slip road, green studs to cross, and I'm on. Now, what's this car in front up to? Are we thinking about overtaking? If you're not overtaking and you're happy to follow them at 64 miles an hour, then make sure you keep your 2-second gap and relax into your lane. If we're thinking about overtaking, mirror, I can see a car there, and after the car is clear, signal and move across. Motorways are brilliant. Motorways, once you've mastered the motorway and you can take motorways and you're confident on them, you can literally go absolutely anywhere. You can pick up your mates and drive to Brighton for the weekend in the summer. You can drive down to Bath, you can drive to Scotland and visit the mountains, you can drive to Wales. Unlocking the ability to use motorways is literally the key to unlocking the freedom of your car. So you need to practice motorways, get good at them, and make sure that you are taking it seriously and safely. That's the end of the M23. This is going to turn into an A road soon. So now you can see that the signs have turned green. Green signs are for A roads, blue signs are for motorways. Another theory test tip, you're welcome. Have that one for free. Make sure that everyone around me is safe because the lanes are merging. Remember, it's not just you that you're keeping safe. It's literally everybody else on the road. So when you're checking your mirrors, you're not just checking to make sure that you're in a good position, you're checking that everyone else is in a good position. And remember, you just can't account for other people's driving. If someone else is super tired, if someone else doesn't have a driving license, because let's face it, that does happen. If someone else is not taking driving as seriously as you are and keeping themselves safe, they might be putting you in danger. So whenever you're driving, make sure that it's not just your driving that you're taking account of, it's everyone else's as well on the road. So let's pull into Starbucks, have a coffee and cake. Why not? What's this car in front doing? Waiting for a gap in traffic. Great. Guys, that was Motorways. Hope you found that helpful. Comment below if there's anything else that I can cover that will help you guys. If there's anything else to do with motorways, let me know and I'll go out and re-record some more stuff so that you guys can feel safe and confident on the motorways. Follow me at Francis the Instructor, follow at Get Licensed Driving School, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.